I love all of the questions that you asked for why a lot of the young people preferred an online experience, but also what they weren't looking for in an online experience. And I was kind of surprised by the ways that they're not necessarily expecting to connect online, as opposed not just the ways that they do connect online, but the ways that they don't expect to.
Yeah.
Really kind of surprised me as well in the study.
Yeah, that it's not their default.
No,
I think
it's not.
people would assume that
was.
because they're on their phones
Exactly.
and there's the iPad and there's the computers and the games and all that, that would be their default, and it's not.
Yeah.
They really do value deep connection, and those sorts of connections, they can be maintained online.
Exactly.
They can even be formed online.
Right.
But that's usually not exclusively formed and or maintained online.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't exclusively be there.
And that's the beauty of these young people. You and I, have had a distinct offline, online experience because we lived a good chunk of life before the internet, right? We and even after it, right? It was just you were either online or you were offline. Young people today, and this will continue to be the experience for people born now and come in the years coming up. This is it's a hybrid existence. It is just how it is. What we're doing right now is just having another interaction as if we ran into each other in the grocery store. They're not necessarily separate just because it's mediated. And so it's just like a whole nother way to view life. There's not this dichotomy that it might be for some of us older folk, which is, I think, in some ways excellent. And then in other ways, the research from other outlets has showed that sort of presence in a mediated form can be a challenge for some, right? And those are things that we see it now, with all of these things about, Facebook being sued and all of, all of these sorts of things. We have to be very mindful about these online experiences, particularly for young people who aren't done developing yet. And they don't have a lot of life experience to go off of and to make decisions from and all that sort of thing. So it'll be very interesting to see as these young people age, because they have had this, what will the sacred look like for them? I
think it'll be very authentic. I know that. It'll
definitely be authentic. That's for sure.
It'll look authentic, and I think it'll be very inclusive, I would guess, just based on some of the answers to some of the questions that you asked in here. And I don't think it will be as rule-oriented as maybe we have always, maybe my generation post-sacredness to be. And it's funny because when I was a kid, like when I was in college, I remember coming across, I think it's Brother Lawrence's book, and it was about this monk who was finding sacredness and doing the dishes and sacredness and serving his brothers. And it's funny now to think that at the time when I read that, it was so like, that is just mind-blowing. Like, it was so like amazing. And I just think now these days and this was before the internet. Like, that's the thing. It was before the internet. It was before digital spaces. And now I just think, I wonder about that monk, to be honest. I mean, we're talking about medieval times. But I'm thinking, what would that have looked like? What does that look like today? Like, what does that kind of sacredness, that sacred solitude look like today? And I think these young people answered it.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They answered it. And I think it's really poignant the way that they did, because they certainly didn't have to be transparent. That it could be, they could be standoffish about it. But I love the fact that they wanted to. You can read it. I'm reading into it, but I'm not. If you read some of the little quotes of people, they obviously wanted, it's almost as if they were waiting for these questions to be asked to them. And I think that that is the thing that I'm kind of fascinated that they were eager to answer, you know?
So it's funny that you say that, because most times you'll hear on the interview recordings, or if you were the one doing the interviews, I did a couple, you would hear, oh, nobody's ever asked me that before.
Yeah.
And they would pause and then, give a very thoughtful answer, or start to kind of talk their way through it, because they had never been asked that before. And so that makes what you see in front of you and what you're holding in your hand even more remarkable.
Yeah.
Because it's not something you're asked about every day, like our last study was about mental health. Well, we think about our mental health quite often. So
we talk about them all the time.
They had answers for that. Yeah. But the sacred, what is sacred to me? Have I had these sorts of experiences? Let me think about that. I don't even know.